All right.
Okay, and we'll wait just a second to let everybody's audio connect and make sure you can hear
Sure,
us.
we're all good.
We got a couple of people still audioing in, and we got a few more people in the waiting room. So we'll just take a second here and get everybody in and keep them coming. Let's see. It's always good to have everybody here before we start, eh?
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
David Zunker, everybody.
Salami, salami, bologna.
Okay, David, I think we're looking good.
Date myself with my jokes.
Here's David.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here with. I noticed the name of my little presentation has changed, evolved, evolved. We'll say that's not. I like that one. And initially, I started off. I'm going to show you some tarot card spreads, and there's three main ones, and I thought if there's more time, we'll do more than that. But what I'd like to start off with is I don't have a cheat sheet about, so if you want to jot a note or two, that might be worthwhile. Or, of course, apparently you can just kind of look this up, download it later, and look at the video later. But this one.
Where did I just lose sound?
David, we just lost your sound. Hit the mute. Looks like it muted you. And you said, and you had just gotten to, and this one, and then it went.
Okay, all right. So I don't know what happened. I don't think I touched anything. So yikes. The first one reading card spread I'm going to start with is an excellent learning spread. And it's called the outcome, an outcome. And what I found it really handy for in the years when I had was maintaining my tarot journal is I would, over my morning coffee, it's always coffee. I would do what's this card spread called an outcome for the day. Well, it could be an outcome for other questions as well, but it's really handy, the outcome for the day. And I'd like to jot that down, do that in the morning, jot it down, and then at the end of my day, you can kind of reflect upon, well, what did that have to do with? What did that card mean in my life as it was lived? And of course, this is going with the tarot axiom that they're always right. Cards are always right. It's just the interpretation that can be screwy. So, as a way to kind of learn, I'd really recommend this outcome tarot spread. So you can follow along. If you have a deck handy, pick it up. And I'm just going to show you this tarot spread. So
the tiny bit of onion? Nope.
And so just kind of a quick little shuffle. Now, the way I learned this, of course, there's many ways to shuffle. There's many ways to choose cards. There's, in fact, when I'm actually with a client, I like to kind of spread them out in a little serpentine line along the table and get the person to physically pull the cards themselves. I'm not one of these people that figure, oh, I don't want anybody touching my cards. But there's many ways to choose your appropriate cards. But this outcome spread has a way to do it built right in. And so it involves shuffling. So you can shuffle in any way you like. And but when you feel you're done shuffling, I like to cut it into 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to try to change my camera a little bit and see if this is going to come up at all or okay.
That actually looks pretty good, David.
Yeah, it does. So I've cut it. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do that again. Why not? So I start with my stack, and my stack is on my right. And I cut So I leave a third about down there, and then I take the other 2/3 and cut that in half. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Now I always take this calls for taking the middle on top. So middle, um, and really doesn't matter much because at that point, we're not going to be going through a whole third of the deck here. We only want 3 cards. However, it's not the top card. What I want to do is go take the 9th card 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up. And I'm just going to put those in the bottom of the deck, those other 8, and again count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That one goes down. And the third card, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that one goes down. So now I've got 3 cards that were the 9th card that I'm going to take that deck and just cut the deck one more time. Then the card on the top, after cutting it, goes on top of those 3 cards. So this is what I've got, and I'm going to do that again. That worked okay. And there we go. So my sequence was the first 9th card, second 9th card, third 9th card, cut the deck for the overall. So the result here is the 4 of Cups, the Prince of Cups, the 6 of Pentacles, surmounted by overall the Queen of Swords. So this is my little outcome for my question. And my question was about this presentation. How's this presentation going to go? And it says, well, there we are, 4 of Cups. Things seem a little bit iffy. Be careful of my expectations. Prince of Cups is being sensitive to the moment. Certainly the 6 of Pentacles looks pretty good. And the Queen of Swords is, well, maybe I'm my own worst critic here. Interesting. This is one of the more graphic. I have the Robert Wing's Golden Dawn deck here, one of the more graphic Queens of Swords with the John the Baptist's head dripping from her hands there. But so that is the outcome for the day. What or for any specific kind of, I really suggested for more immediately verifiable, like the day ahead. It's not for like bigger questions necessarily about, am I going to be happy or am I this or that? They're not for, this is a very kind of a practical card spread. I think kind of esoterically, the idea of picking the 9th card is the idea is you're choosing things from the deck that are more about more imminent, more kind of near manifestation. But anyway, so I would really suggest that the outcome, 3-card outcome for the day, outcome for a specific question, as a really good learning tool. And then after the event, make it something that's going to have happened, where you can draw a line, that's over, and you can say, well, I can see how this relates to life as it's lived, which makes it a great learning tool. So does anybody have any questions? Feel free to kind of interject if you have any questions about that, or if you'd like me to go over it again. But everybody good with the outcome card, 3-card outcome? Well, it's 4 cards actually, with the 4th one on top. So the outcome, a great learning tool, a great thing to do in the morning, and you can kind of fill up your journal and then reflect about what did that mean, or who was that face court card. Now, I want to also, now next one we're going to present is a little more complicated. And this is my go-to yes or no tarot spread. There's all kinds of I've heard there's certainly other tarot spreads. There's other ways of looking at what's yes and what's no. Um, and it's kind of it's a toughie. But certainly, a lot of querents, people's questions and a lot of my questions come down to really a yes or a no. Just give me a yes or a no. But funny enough, this is a yes or a no, which it is a yes and no, but it does have gray areas. So I'm going to just kind of tell you all about it. And it might be easier to learn if you do, if you want to follow along. So I'm going to go step by step. Um, so whoever's following along with a deck and going to do it as I describe it, um, just think of a yes or no question that is maybe not all overly altruistic, that isn't kind of pie in the sky, something that is going to be verifiable, say within the next days or, not too distant future. So you can see how this goes for you. So what you want to do is, again, shuffle. And oh goodness, which means I best come up with yes or no as well. I'm keeping mine secret though. Oh no, I'll let you know. I'm going to do a yes or no. I'll keep it to myself until we look at the answer. How's that? Because I don't want to influence you guys about what your question's going to be. So I think I'm almost ready to start. Now, I think it's starting to get pertinent here as far as this card spread goes, and as far as maybe some others go. Personally, I mean, I believe I know how to read reversals, but generally I don't bother reading reversals. Um, I just feel that there's enough variety in the deck and using kind of position and what's adjacent and how they blend and stuff to kind of get the meanings I want. And also, I've just been at too many kind of like Andrea's Intuitive Arts or too many fairs over the decades or too many situations with, say, if I'm reading for the public in a restaurant and stuff like that, where I don't want to have to think about, am I holding my deck correctly? Did something get switched around? Oh my gosh, there's uh, 5 out of 7 cards are reversed. Did I flip the deck around? And now here I have a client sitting here who doesn't know me, and I've got to change it all around and switch it back and kind of make excuses for myself. Or so after too many situations like that, um, generally for me they go right side up as they hit the table. So once you got them all shuffled, I would say like there's all kinds of ways to cut. Um, you can just cut the deck once. There was the 3 piles earlier. Um, I guess I can't call it gypsy anymore, but I could call it the Roma cut is one I've learned, which is, okay, do this. Hey, can you get me on there, Ian, in the main screen there? I put it on speaker and it's you, not me.
If everybody was go speaker view, then they'll see just David and the cards as he speaks. You're seeing me right now.
Yeah, I'm
You
seeing you
see
right now.
him when he's speaking, and
All
you can
right.
see cards up
So
close.
I want to do that. So here we go. This is it's so I'm starting on my right, and again 1, 2, 3. However, this way it's starting picking them up just at the right. 1, 2, 3, and but doing that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a third time. Got to kind of tighten them up here so I'm not cutting it in the exact same spot. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now there's my Roma cut. Now, what you want to do is I'm starting on my left. And what we're doing is we're taking that full deck, take that full deck, and okay, here's my yes and no question, and I'm going making 5 piles. So I'm starting, and I'm counting 13 cards in each pile, unless and until I hit an ace. Then you stop and start the next pile. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, the devil. Isn't that cute? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I hit an ace on the fifth card, so that's up and stop. Now the fifth and last pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. An ace. So I've got 5 piles, and this is how this works. You make 5 piles. You're counting 13 in a pile, 13 in a pile, until and unless you hit an ace. Then you put that ace down and start the next pile. So the way this has worked in this example is, we just have to move that around a bit. We've got a devil, a 8 of discs, strength, then an ace of pentacles, and the ace of swords. Well, I guess so. Yes, 8 pentacles in there. So this is the spread, and how you read it is if you get 4 out of 5 aces, definite yes. 4 out of 5 piles with an ace, all your aces are up in 5 piles, it's a definite yes. 3 of your aces out of the 5 piles is like probably yes, should be yes, likely yes, looks good. Not for sure, but looks good. 2 aces out of the 5 piles, as I've gotten here for my example, is could be yes, but maybe not. Not looking that great. Eh, leaning towards no. And then um, 1 ace out of 5 piles would be, yeah, probably no. There's a slim chance, but probably no. And then no aces and just 5 piles of 13 cards and no ace has come up is no way, Jose. No, no, a big no. So this is, give it a try. Another thing to maybe jot a note in your little tarot journal, your little journal about when, if you want to give this a try, so that you can reflect upon the answer and see how that worked out for you. But then, of course, there is another aspect to these 5 piles is I can make note of, well, I did get the ace of pentacles and I did get the ace of swords. So it is saying kind of yes about some aspects that are the material world, the pentacle stuff, money stuff. It's saying a yes about good ideas here. Um, the uh, 8 of Pentacles as well. It's not an ace. It's not part of the yes statement, but it is adding a clue here around work, around refinement of ability, work stuff. The Devil card is saying, don't be negative. Then you can sort of read the other cards that have come up as contributing and things about your yes and no answer.
Can I ask a question, David?
Please do.
Um, you're saying 5 cards of 13, but it's like
5 piles of 13
piles.
cards.
What do you do with the last group of 13?
Oh, it just didn't fit on my table. It's just sitting right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, so you just don't use because there's 13 in the sixth as well, right? Like 13.
There's no 6 pile.
There's no 6 piles. Okay, that was my question.
5 piles.
Okay.
5. You've given your deck 5 chances to give you an ace, to give you aces. So there's only 4 aces in the deck. Of course, there's only 4 aces in the deck, but and we're only dealing with 5 piles there. So if we got all 4 aces in the first 4 piles, I guess you wouldn't even have to do that 5th pile. But you can to see what other kind of card is a comment on that resounding yes. So it's 5 piles, not 6, just 5 piles, not the whole deck, just 5 piles, 13 in a pile. But when you hit the ace, stop and go to the next pile. You guys hope some of you try that. I like it. Been using it for a while, and give it a go. So we have our outcome, which is great for learning and doing for the outcome for my day ahead, or my outcome for the job interview, or my outcome for my coffee date, or the outcome. It's really kind of handy for all sorts of things that we have questions about. The yes and no, of course, a lot of our questions are yes and no. And that also is probably for more practical things. Now, let's look at a third one. And this is the reading that it looks like Ian has successfully created a link to it. And this is, oh, thanks, Ian. And while we're looking at that and I'm describing it, I'll shuffle away and get ready. But what you want to get ready with is this is for fairly practical questions in life. Things about a project, things about a move, things about a situation coming up, a party, an event, a occurrence, something, it's not necessarily conducive to answering questions that are more esoteric or spiritual. It's really it's a specific question spread, and it's really built for the earthly plane, shall we say. So what I've got here is it's a 6-pointed star and 1 in the center. So we'll just get Ian to leave that up as is for a bit, and I'll talk about it further. Because I want to kind of explain this as I go along, as I demonstrate it. So if you want to follow along with your own deck and your own question, feel free. That's a good learning way. Or at least you have this sheet for this one you can download and have and refer to later. So it's a 6-pointed star with 1 in the center. And the first bit of writing there is I'm saying that the upward triangle is about the querent, or yourself if you're doing it for yourself. And the downward triangle is about the environment or influences coming in or surrounding the querent or surrounding you. So when we put these 2 triangles together to form the 6-pointed star, what we're doing is we're looking at how does my or the querent's energy how that's intersecting with the environmental factors and what's going on around, and then the outcome in the center. So I'm just going to do a couple more shuffles. And I like that one. So whether you're shuffling and cutting, I do have used this card spread when I'm doing that alternate kind of spread out the cards or make a mess of them and choose them. And just kind of a little side tidbit here is, especially when I'm reading for a client in person and I'm letting them touch my cards, I recommend that, I ask them, use your left hand or primarily your left hand. And that's because the left hand is connected to the right brain, and the right brain is viewed as more as the intuitive, creative side. Um, but if somebody doesn't want to use their left hand, I'm not going to fuss about it. So, which is, however, another way, and then you get them to always stack the cards so that they're staying in the same order they draw them, which is something I like to do. And then you remember when you pick those cards up, the first card they drew is on the bottom, not on the top. So back to this. I've got a question. My first card is going on top. So you make some room. As long as you have room to make your star, the first card's going on top. The second card is going, if you're looking at it straight on, to your right, in the right corner. The third card is the left corner. So this creates, from the top, going clockwise, your three cards triangle pointing up. The fourth card is the bottom one. The fifth card is the upper left. The sixth card is the upper right. So this then forms the triangle pointing down. And then your seventh card is the center. So, um, I'll just kind of show you guys briefly, but I guess the reason, the dealie here is that we can use the sheet. It really doesn't matter what I've come up with here. But I will try a little interpretation just to kind of move us along, that you kind of get an idea of how to read it now. So there's a little description. So Ian, if you want to kind of zoom in and scroll through a little bit, we'll look at the cards on top, and then we'll leave it at the description. So yes, there we are. So we start with 1, 1, 2, 3 for the triangle pointing up, then 4, 5, 6 for the triangle pointing down, and 7 as the outcome in the center. And then, I might kind of, so everybody in the next kind of year or so, look for the Jesus Tarot that I am creating with an illustrator here. And that's what I'm using for my examples. And I'm open for advice here. I haven't figured out to keep it. I mean, it comes with a very exhausting like book that's up to like 25,000 words. It's not just going to be a little tiny little white book in the deck. It's going to be a book to describe it. But there's a gospel verse for every card. And I haven't quite figured out whether to call it yet something like highfalutin, like the Christ Consciousness Tarot, or Tarot of the Gospels. But I'm actually kind of leaning towards more the what would Jesus do tarot. So anyway, I'm open to opinions there. But anyway, let's move on to the bottom of the sheet. And we have the upright triangle, the querents view, the downward triangle is the environment. So number 1 here is past. Basis of the question, where the querent is coming from. Um, hey, tell you what, Ian, let's go back to the actual cards, and I'll use these cards instead of what I got in front of me. So if these were our cards, it's the first card would have been the two of coins. So what is this saying? It says the basis of the question was where it's saying it seems like it's a more a material concern. It's something might it seems like the question is about finances, resources, um, that's what the question seems to be about. Even if the querent has asked a question, say about relationships or something, it seems the cards are saying, you know, you asked about relationships, but it really seems to be a matter about how you feel about money, and your security is maybe kind of holding you back in the relationship. So if that's it's number one, it's saying it's the basis of the matter is kind of material change, probably a financial matter. The number two card here in my printed example is the Ace of Wands. So this position, the position number two, is about what's going on now. What's so the one is more kind of past the basis, two is now for the querent, where the querent is at. And the Ace of Wands here is saying, well, the querent is, the client is very excited. There's some new creative opportunity. It seems like fun, full of potential. Seems to be about me. 65, full of potential. Um, then the third card here is what's coming up for the querent, where they're going to be, what's kind of next, what needs to be done. And here we have the Six of Swords. So it's saying around this specific question, um, which we can say is sort of a financial question. There's opportunities, there's new creative ideas, but there's a lot of communication to be done in the Six of Swords. Some movement, communication, um, potentially a trip, um, to and some other parties with which to coordinate. So that's our three cards, the triangle going up. So it's saying money, creative, and there's a lot of things to be talked about and people to talk to. So the fourth card here is is there something in the way? What needs to be gotten through? What do you need? What does the querent need to kind of move beyond? And here we have the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups saying it's just about being kind of reminding the querent about being sincere, about reminding the querent about what's important to them. It's saying kind of don't forget a relationship. Don't kind of get all excited by this Ace of Wands and then kind of forget and maybe some obligations. Is there children involved? There's, you know, certainly as Six of Cups, which is certainly I view as a very positive, caring, positive emotional card. um, you know, this can come up in other readings where you get a very positive card as a challenge. Um, but nonetheless, it's saying kind of the challenge in this query is to kind of maintain sincerity and kind of keep it feeling good. Then influence coming in, oh goodness, that's what we got, death here as an environment. So that fifth card in the upper left is the environment of the coming in, the situation, and the death card. So things are in a state of change and transformation. Um, that the stakes are high, we could say, but it's also um, in a state of transformation and change. Influences coming in. We have the Page of Cups in this example. So, what is an influence coming in? Influences coming in is like a new opening to a new feelings, opening to a new relationship, um, a new kind of method that is more about emotions. And then the outcome. So that fifth position then influences coming in from outside sources. It could also be a page of cups, could be, of course, messages. So we have this idea of an emotional message. Sincere could be a sincere offer of help or aid. Whoop. And then the outcome, we have the Hierophant. So then the outcome is the end of the road here. And especially with the Hierophant, which is associated with Taurus, which is associated with all these sort of uh, social structures, with kind of with real business, kind of business connections, but it's a very solid card and a very positive card in that regard. It's saying that there is something gained, kind of a higher ground achieved. Um, so the outcome, the seventh card in the center, is seen as a final outcome, but certainly, some cards say, if that was the Eight of Wands, or which we chatted about the other day, Temperance, if it was a different kind of a card, it would say there's an outcome, but the outcome is a new path. Some cards are going to come out as outcomes, but they're going to be about change and movement. So, but it is still saying that there is kind of a level, an outcome achieved before a new path goes on. So this is really handy for those sort of practical questions in life about what's going to happen. Anybody have any questions about that, or want me to kind of?
David, we got about a minute left.
Oh, really? Wow, cool.
Yeah. And we do have that, the thing we just looked at, that spread is at the very top of the chat with, so you can open it and print it for yourself if you like.
Okay. Well, I'm. Yes, I might end up going with that. What would Jesus do, tarot? But there's an oxymoron. I like being controversial, so.
David, thanks so much. This has been just wonderful, full of hands-on. It's really cool.
Well, that's it. Okay, so thank you very much, folks. And of course, this would be available to look at later for our membership. And yeah, 3 very handy down-to-earth spreads, and best of luck with them.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll see you back here in 5 for the tarot trade.
And if anybody wants to talk to me about my fabulous new deck that will come out one day, feel free.
Sounds good. Thank you, David.
Bye. Thanks.
Have a great night.